Political party eras. Political party eras are historical periods in which a majority of the voters continue to vote for the party in power. It's a series of maintaining elections. The first political party era in the United States was from 1796 to 1824, coined the first party system. This is a contest between the Federalists and the Democratic Republicans. These different political parties started within George Washington's cabinet. You have Alexander Hamilton, who was Secretary of Treasury, who was really fighting to gain support for a national bank. So within Washington's cabinet, Alexander Hamilton was using political tactics to try to gain support for a policy or a platform that centered around increasing the United States' debt to other countries and to creating a national debt to store our monies and our treasury, our securities. Okay. Now, John Adams was our first Federalist president. He had a very weak coalition of support. He was not able to win a re-election in 1800. In fact, Thomas Jefferson defeated John Adams in the Revolution of 1800. Now, this is considered a revolution because this was the first time political parties had ran against each other and there was a peaceful transfer of power between the Democratic Republicans and the Federalists. Now, this marks a time that is dominated by Jefferson's Democratic Republicans. And the Democratic Republicans had a coalition of support with the voters who supported the idea that the states' rights should come before national government's rights, which is kind of ironic because Thomas Jefferson used a lot of implied powers of the president. And we'll get to that when we talk about the implied powers of the president and some of those examples. But the states' rights parties had strong support within the South. The next era of political parties came in 1828. So from about 1796 to 1824, you have the dominance of the Democratic Republicans. So in 1828, Jackson broke off from the Democratic Republicans along with Martin Van Buren, and they established the Democrats, and they became the coalition of the common man. After Andrew Jackson had lost the Electoral College vote in 1824, even after he had received the popular vote, he stepped aside from national politics, but he stepped aside from trying to run for office to garner support from the common man to get rid of property qualifications to vote. Now, he came back 4 years. It's not like he stepped aside like he was off the map, but he came back 4 years later, and he had helped remove property qualifications, and since he helped those people gain the right to vote, they supported him in masses, and he was able to win the 1828 election. And in that case, the Democrats were able to dominate for the next 30 years. The major competition for the Democrats were the Whigs. Now, the Whigs were much like the old Federalist, but some major Whig the major Whig politicians that you might be familiar with and remember from U.S. history is Henry Clay and Daniel Webster. But neither one of them were presidents. Your Whig presidents were Zachary Taylor and Millard Fillmore. And those are some of the presidents that nobody ever remembers in between Jackson and Lincoln. All right, so that's the